Well, everybody, I'm back doing the Daredevil episode 6 review, and there's some action in it. You had to wait like 35 minutes for it, but yeah, it paid off though, it paid off. So, without any further ado, so starts off with a recap, and this dude called Muse is called, and I did a bit of research because I was thinking, I don't even know this character, and apparently it was 2016. His first appearance was in it, and he's got like superhuman strength and agility, and he can't be sensed by humans, which whatever that means, I don't know. But anyway, I didn't really know the character, but you get to know the character in this episode anyway, right? Well, you see the recap where it starts off with a workman who's like working, doing his sort of business, where he comes across the body which you saw in earlier episodes, Muse dude carrying this dude, and like, yeah, so they find the dude in that, and it gets reported and that, and then you see this graffiti that you can see at the bottom there. Muse has tagged it himself, so he's done like a big portrait and that, where you can see the cleanup team are trying to like jet wash the spray paint off, but spoilers, it's not spray paint. Well, Matt is sort of like praying and that, and he's thinking about Foggy, and does a recap on pro- all of the action scenes. So, like, this episode, you see a lot of action scenes, even though the, like, first part is just recap action scenes. But anyway, then it goes into, like, a lot of talking and that, where his bed, I think it's his bed, but she's got hair different, so it's hard to tell. But anyway, she's sort of like, says, "Oh yeah, how you feeling?" And I didn't know you did prayers and all this. And anyway, Matt says, "Yeah, he's gonna start going back or whatever," and that. Well, gets to where the personal relations manager woman, she's talking to Fisk about a meeting and that, where Fisk is not gonna go to this meeting and that. He says, "Oh yeah, you should go," and that, like, take my place and that. Well, in Fisk's office, there's one of the mob members' family sort of dudes who's like wants to talk to Fisk and that. So like Fisk is talking to him, and Fisk says he the dude mobster dude needs to pay another mobster dude 1.2 million for like the job that went down in the docks, where his gang like stole and killed two other members' gangs, and then the Mrs. Fisk paid the other gang to like just leave it alone. Well, now I think Fisk, he's wanting the dude to pay the money that Mrs. Fisk paid, sort of thing. Well, um, it goes to like where Matt is talking to his woman and that, and she's sort of like wanting to do a book and that about vigilantes and that, called Why Fear the Mask. uh, well, then it comes to where the family member it says like he's not going to pay like the 1.2 million and that. So the mob boss sort of basically tells Fisk to fuck off. I forget exactly what he says. Well, Fisk, at this point, I thought he was going to beat the shower of this member, but mob boss sort of thing. But anyway, Fisk then tells the like mob boss that it's 2.2 million now. He's added on a million and that. Well, um, the dude, mob dude, he's not gonna pay him that. Um, he's really like pushing his luck with Fisk. 'Cause I think he thinks Fisk is not a mob boss no more. I think he thinks he's just a mayor and that. Because it says Fisk is out of the game, so he thinks like Fisk is no more of a threat no more. Well, then Matt Spade, she wants an interview with the Punisher and that, and Matt thinks he's all right and that sort of thing. And then Fisk gives the mob boss till the end of the week to pay up his debt, sort of thing. And then the mob boss leaves and that. Then the cleanup team and that um, talks to Fisk, and he says that the graffiti picture is not coming off the wall easy, and finds out that it's because it's not paint, it's human blood being used. Well, Fisk is a bit like shocked, but well, then Matt's talking to Foggy too about a case where I don't know if it was out to do with the storyline or out, but well, White Tiger's niece, she sort of like turns up. She wants to like talk to Matt. So Matt, like, oh yeah, come here, like we can have a like talk and that. So he's talking to the White Tiger's niece and that, and she says that White Tiger was onto something he was investigating about all the kidnapping people going missing. But Matt says he can't do anything about it. And then the analyst dude, oh, well, I think it's the chief commissioner. He's talking about the analyst of the blood and that, and he says like there was 12 murals, graffiti murals done, and they say it has about like 60 people's blood in it. So looking like £8, oh no, £5 sort of like murals. So they're like, oh, just say 5 people's, and I think you get £7, and so like £35 per mural. Uh, so it's saying like the blood is in it and that, and then they talk about it a little bit more where like Fisk gets like a bit sort of like in a daze, and then he just starts laughing. And he says it's not to like leave the room and that sort of thing because he doesn't want like the killer to know that they're onto him and that. So then it goes to like where two women are like walking down the street and they see this dude doing some spray painting and that on a wall, and they ask him sort of like if he's an artist and that. Where like he turns around and it's the Muse dude, and then you see him lunge towards them, and he must have grabbed them because they're screaming that. And spoilers, yeah, he did grab them. Well, then Fisk is talking to his wife about the mob boss who like wasn't gonna pay up and that. And she says like Fisk is helping people and that sort of thing. It was a bit confusing here, where it was she was talking about something where yeah maybe it might make more sense when you see later episodes, but she was giving it Fisk confidence and that, and it goes into like a sort of in be out of sort of scenes of him talking to his sort of like backers, investors, and that shit sort of thing. Because like now he's mayor, he needs people to like back him up and give him money or whatever. And then like Matt, he's talking to his detective mate, or his detective mate says about the serial killer Muse. He's heard from like contacts he's got, says like it's serious and that. Says like the graffiti artist Muse is the top suspect, and so to Matt not to get involved, which is a bit crazy because why tell Matt? But maybe he's just telling Matt so like Matt knows this sort of shit. But well, then the PR young dude and that and the other PR dude, they say to Fisk that there's something he needs to like see, and that where they take him into a back of a cop car sort of thing. But anyway, as Fisk like says, yeah, okay, then let's go see what it is. He says to his wife to excuse him from his other backers that he was going to talk to. Why, like, he can't talk to them right now because he's got some business to take care of and that. So then Fisk sees the graffiti mural with the two dead women and that. And like you can see like the mural is of like Statue of Liberty, but with the Muse sort of like logo thing, and he's holding, I think it's a microphone and some handcuffs sort of thing. But anyway, that was like the statement that like he probably used real blood of the women he killed to do the eyes, and I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be on his chest, but it's some thing like that on his chest. Well, anyway, um, yeah, well, Fisk sees this and that, and then like he's in a cop car because I think like the cops are like straight off the like press sort of thing showing him this, and they say like yeah this killer is like mocking the cops now, you know, leaving dead bodies out in the open. Well, Fisk sort of like agrees sort of thing, and then Fisk is in his office and that, and he's getting a bit of a telling off by the police chief commissioner, about the killings and that, and saying like there's not enough cops to stop it and that. So Fisk can't give him shit because Fisk has like stopped the police funding and that. Where Fisk agrees, like yeah, he says yeah, we do need to put more cops on the streets and that. Where then Fisk he hands over like a folder of all these cops Fisk wants on his sort of like force and that, and put them on the case sort of thing. Where the chief commissioner has a look at them and says that they all are like bad apples and that. Where Fisk is happy to have them on his task force because, like, he basically says that they'll do anything because, like, they know that there's allegations against these cops, so it's hard for them to get like on the force or fucking is getting them into like a team where they'll do anything as long as they're gonna get paid and that sort of thing. So he says, what was it? Says yeah, they'll do overtime with no body cameras and all, meaning like because they are a bunch of dirty bad apples and that, but they will do pretty much what Fisk and the law chief commissioner want them to do, as long as they're getting paid and they're getting their pensions and that. So he goes, and then you see these cops and that, and they're in like this Air Force hangar and that sort of thing, and then they gather around Fisk because he like enters in and that, and Fisk is saying that they're all like good men. He really butters them up, getting them on his side like a good manager does, sort of thing. He says like the all sort of like got like things against them, but like he still wants them as a part of his anti-vigilante task force and that. And you can see one of them's the cop that like tried to beat up Matt where they was going after White Tiger. So yeah, a bit of a like probably history going on there sort of thing with vigilantes. And so like Fisk says that they need to find this Muse and that who's like the killer, and then like a bit of like misleading word sort of like manipulation sort of thing, because then he's like says don't let these masked vigilantes scare you, where Muse is not a vigilante, he's a killer. So but Fisk is wanting killers and vigilantes or anyone that goes on the street at night and kicks people's asses to be seen as like the enemy. So then White Tiger's niece, she's investigating in underground train tracks and that, and she walks like down them and that, where yeah, you know, like oh yeah, it's ain't gonna end good for her. But anyway, Matt, he's at home and he's looking up on his laptop where like he's got like the death mode on, so it's like talking to him. Well, anyway, he's looking at abandoned train tracks and all this. When he gets a phone call from White Tiger's niece's mother saying that she hasn't been home and that, and she said that she was going to go visit Matt to see about White Tigers. Well, anyway, Matt's like, well, yeah, well, no, I hadn't seen her, sort of thing, since she earlier on that day. Well, then Matt says, oh, yeah, he'll sort it out. And you're thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And then he phones the cops. Well, you're thinking, oh, no. Well, then he stops phoning the cops because he hangs up because he thinks, yeah, no, they ain't going to do fuck all. As he says, like, fuck it. And then goes to the rooftop where he's got his sort of like secret closet, sort of like storage centre, I think. And then you see him dressed as Daredevil running on the rooftops and that. Well, then Muse, he's walking with a body, And like spoilers, it's White Tiger's niece in that, where he takes her to his sort of place of like torture rooms and that. Although it's not a really torture room, even though it could be seen as a torture, but then he puts her on the table because you think he's going to torture, but no, he just drains the blood because that's how he gets the blood for his graffiti artwork murals. Well, he injects a needle into her arm and that's attached to this like pumping or suction. It would be like a suction pumping mechanism machine. Where then you see Fisk, where he goes and he's talking to his wife's lover, who says like that his wife, Fisk's wife, wants Fisk to let the dude he's called Adam to go, but he's got an axe, and I thought he had the axe sort of like so he would kill the dude, but no. He says like it's a difficult thing to do, sort of thing, to let the dude go after he'd shagged his wife and that. But he talks about fighting guys 3 times his size, so he must have been a small kid because Kingpin Fisk is supposed to be like I think nearly 7 foot or something in the comic book anyway. Like I think I forget his name who played, but he's about 6'2" or 6'3" or something. Um, well, after he says like about beating guys 3 times his size, he says, "Oh, like a tool can be a great equalizer," and then he throws the axe into the cell for Adam and that to give him a bit of a fighting chance because you see, like he's wanting Adam to like fight him, so he's got an excuse to because I don't think even the Kingpin wants to just go down there and kill him mercilessly. I think he wants to give him a little bit of a fighting chance. So then he goes to where Muse is turned on the like suction machine where it's sucking out the blood and that. Well, he noticed something. So he goes to go investigate, and here's where the action fucking starts. 5 minutes action bit, but yeah, this was pretty fucking good though, pretty fucking good. Because like as he goes to look, fucking Daredevil, fucking flies sort of like down this sort of empty track near on because he uses his sort of like baton sort of like wrench sort of thing that he uses to like make him fly even quicker. Fucking boots or kicks fucking mules. I forget which one, but anyway, just boots him to the fucking. I think it is a kick, but could be kicking and a punch to the ground and that shit. Start fighting and that. Now there's some pretty good fucking fight scenes in that. Like, sort of the level I expect for a Daredevil sort of episode and that. Where, yeah, beating up the Muse and that, where Muse he's trying to fight back, but he's not much of a fighter or skilled fighter as Daredevil and that. So, he does a nice kick, like backflipping kick sort of thing. A real show off move. But anyway, yeah, boots Muse right in the face. And that. Then he goes back to where you see Adam. Now, I don't know if Adam was like in a rock band before he got imprisoned, but according to his hair growth, he's been locked away for at least a year or two, depending on how long his hair was when he got locked up. Anyway, Adam by this stage, because I think he's got desperate now, he sees that the only way he is going to get out is to attack Kingpin and that. So Adam goes for it and that, runs at him with the axe, but gets smacked by fucking Fisk, like fully across the room, sort of thing. You see where he lands in a screenshot or two. Anyway, then goes back to Daredevil where he's fucking still beating up fucking Muse and that shit. Where like Muse is trying to fucking fight back, but as I say, Daredevil is more skillful fighter on this occasion. Like yeah, you boots the shower, the Muse dude. That's punching the shower and all, you know. I think at one stage, yeah, he's stabbing him, I think, or hitting him with some where he should be real fucked up and that. But I think this Muse character is got superhuman, probably healing abilities and all. It looks like. So anyway, you see like where White Tiger's niece is still on the table and that. Then it goes back to where you see Adam, sort of come around from the slap he got, and as he gets up, because you see where the like end of the wall is, that's where he came out of. That's where his cell door is, sort of opposite that table. So he got slapped fully across the room and that. You don't see it in that shit. Well, tries to attack Fisk and that, but Fisk beats the shit out of him again. Then it's back to Daredevil where Muse and Daredevil are fighting and that shit again, where Daredevil still beating the shit out of him. Fucking lays him out and that shit. Now, the fight would be over if the Muse was a human, but it seems like he's not. He's got superhuman sort of abilities, because he gets back up on that, and then like because Matt was gonna try and sort of like unplug White Tiger's niece, but Muse gets in there with a dirty shot whilst Matt was sort of like a bit busy in that, where he sort of slams fucking Daredevil down and that shit, where fucking he's about to just then stab White Tiger's niece, but Daredevil throws this sort of baton thing with the cord, which like fucks the Muse's hand up from stabbing White Tiger's niece and that. Pretty good. I say this fight scene's fucking what I'd expect from a fucking Daredevil fight scene. And then the Muse, he tries to attack him with some like pincers or whatever there was, but Daredevil he catches it and that. Then like sort of beats him up a bit more. Oh, he fucks him up. Like yeah, I forget exactly how, but cause like some real good fight scenes in it. Like so much like I can't remember exactly what went down, and I couldn't be asked to take loads of screenshots to like show it. Well, anyway, then it's back to where fucking all this is where Fisk just grabs Adam and like slamming him right onto the like ceiling roof because he's like in a cellar, I think. Where oh yeah, it smashes him onto the table and that. Adam's pretty fucked up at this stage. Where Fisk sort of like grabs him and that, drags him sort of like over the table. Where so has Daredevil at this stage. Now this is where they've gone for a nice sort of cut scene of them both beating the shit out of their opponents on the table, where the head's just exposed. Like they must be unconscious at this stage because their arms are like flail beside them. So, yeah, you see Matt punching Muse in the head. Then you see Fisk punching that Adam in the head. And it didn't go back to where it was like clipping from Daredevil to Fisk, and then from Fisk to Daredevil. But I think there was one or two cutscenes, but it wasn't. But anyway, then Fisk grabs Adam. He's probably lifeless body by now. But to finish it off, Fisk does a Hailmaker to the head. And I think Adam's dead. I don't know, because I haven't seen episode 7 yet. But well, anyway, Muse, he's down on the floor and that, and he's pretty fucked up and that. Well, Matt sort of grabs the fucking cable on his baton things, wraps it around the Muse's neck thing, and then like walks forward and that, pinning up the like tension of the cable that's on these ladders, where he like lifts up Muse and that to where he's choking him out and that. But as he's choking him out, Daredevil hears White Tiger's niece's heartbeat fade, and so he knows that he's got a choice of either killing Muse or trying to save White Tiger's niece and that, which he lets Muse down sort of thing, well, drops him down because he rushes over towards where White Tiger's niece is, and he starts giving us some what would be heart massaging sort of techniques, I think they're called, where you're just pumping the heart anyway. Where, because I think there's so much blood that's drained out of her that her heart's not pumping any blood to her brain or whatever, so he's trying to pump some blood back into her heart. And the music, he's sort of like down there and you think he's like unconscious or whatever. And then you see Fisk dragging that Adam back into the cells and that. And then you see the Muse dude sort of like still looking like he's unconscious. And then you see Matt like praying on like to get White Tiger's niece's heart re-pumping and that. Where it does, she starts like breathing and that. And then it goes to where you see Adam. Now, as I say, I don't know if he's dead or he's just had one hell of a beating. But either way, Fisk is just like sat there with him, where probably just reflecting on like life itself or whatever. But anyway, yeah. Then it goes back to Daredevil, where he looks to see where the Muse is, but the Muse is gone. And so then he goes back to where you see Fisk still reflecting on whatever. Where then Matt, Daredevil sort of like sees like the Muse is gone, and it's like, oh shit, I can't be asked to like chase after him. And then you hear White Tiger's niece asking, is that Daredevil sort of thing, where Daredevil says, yeah, it's me sort of thing, you can relax, and I've saved your life. Then it ends. We gotta say, yeah, good fight scene at the end. Well, like, happy with that fight scene. So, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.